Morana and I am 23.
The names are Modredi Emmanuel Chifura and I am 21 years old.
I'm Ererwani Makolani and I'm 30-something.
Hi, my name is Asemahle Chwayela and I'm 24 years old.
Well, to me, it means a state of governance where people choose a certain person to lead them.
Democracy to me in brief terms is Ubuntu, sharing love and light with my fellow modern youth.
Democracy. From what I learned at school, before I tell you what it means to me, democracy comes from the Greek word demo, which means people, and then krasos, which means power, right? So with that understanding, I understood that it means power to the people, and it's brought through the governance.
To me, democracy means freedom to do what I feel is right.
It makes me proud to be part of the South African youth.
Look, for me, just briefly, it's the freedom to be able to enter any building, anytime, without being judged for my skin color.
I can't say I have a personal attachment to it. However, given the fact that it's a memorial day for the youth, it means celebrating the people that fought for the freedom that we have, the youth, basically. Yeah.
To me personally, June 16 means honoring those who died during 1976 while they were fighting for our freedom and for the youth of South Africa.
It's a good reminder that the youth are the future and we can make changes to this country and to the world. So it's a good reminder.
There's a reason we're here right now.
1976 has nothing to do with us, so I don't think we should remember it. However, it's just a memory to celebrate the year that all this happened, hence we celebrate June 16.
Young people should remember 1976 because they should remember the people who fought during the struggle so that today we can have freedom and we can do whatever we feel like that is right. Sorry for us as the youth.
I think as we go along and as we learn more about history, the youth are looking to not necessarily make the same mistakes, learn from it, move and do better. So we're trying to do our best to do way better than what has happened before.
I think history shapes youth identity today by helping us look into the past and how it allowed us right now to grow into the mentality that we have right now as the youth.
It serves as a foundation, as a way to look at what we shouldn't do and how everything was done so that we don't repeat the same patterns. So how does it shape it? It just serves it as a foundation for us to look at it as what we shouldn't do and what we could improve on.
History gave us an opportunity and freedom to express ourselves, to be voice of the voiceless, to do what we feel is right and when we feel like it.
I feel like not many leaders hear us, but as we are going along, there are more leaders that are trying their best to get the input of the youth as we are the future.
No, I don't. I think they're quite greedy at the moment and selfish. So we need to have more open ears.
To a certain extent, yes. To a certain extent, no. So yeah.
No, because majority of the leaders of today, they are corrupt and they don't give the youth the platform that they deserve.
Welcome to the very first episode of Democracy Talks, a podcast where we unpack justice, rights, and democracy. Not from a textbook, but from real life. So, this space is for us, the young people of South Africa, to ask hard questions and answer them with honesty. Right? So, in this episode, or this episode rather, was and is from a simple yet a deep, important thought. How do we make sense of democracy when it often feels so far removed from our lived experiences? So we grow up hearing about the Constitution, right? About freedom, about how much our country has changed. And yes, there has been so much progress, but if we're honest, freedom on paper doesn't always feel like freedom in practice. And so, in this episode, we are honoring the Youth Month, a time where we remember the bravery of 1976 youth. And we're choosing to ask a very bold question and a necessary one. They say we are free, but are we really free? On that note, I am Ms. Pamela Morare with
He said it's all good.
and we are your hosts for Democracy Talks. Now let's unpack our conversation for today, right? Let's begin with something very up close and personal because I feel like that's where the truth um, usually lives, right? So, can you think of a time? Can you think back of a time when you truly felt free? And on the flip side as well, a moment where you realized that maybe you're not so free as you thought.
A moment and I felt free.
Yeah.
I think there are quite a few moments where I think I felt free.
Mm-hmm.
And those are probably moments where, after high school, when you finish your exams and you feel like you're free and you're ready to take on the world, like everything is literally at the palm of your hands. And I think another time I felt free was probably the time when I voted for the first time. I felt free then because I had the power and I felt like something's going to happen. But then also, I think there's a time where I felt powerless. I mean, when you think about it, think about the times when you go to like a home affairs office and you chill there for the whole day
Mm-hmm.
and you go home with nothing. For me, those are times where you feel powerless at a time where you've once experienced freedom and now you're feeling powerless. So for me, I think yes, those might be times where I felt free, but there's also a time where I felt powerless. So yeah, that's my take on it. I don't know. Have you ever had a time where you felt free and you can take on anything and you can just do as I don't know, freedom to you, a sense of what freedom means to you. Is there a time where you felt free? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, there has been time where I felt free, but I think also there was like there were times where I felt like I was not as free as I thought, right?
Mm.
So what you just said kind of hits home, you know, and I can relate in a way that for me personally, I started questioning the idea of freedom just after graduating, you know. Um, for me, I felt like I had done everything I needed to do. I went to school, got the qualification, played by the rules, but then I spent nearly like a full year of applying, you know, of crafting and, you know, sending out my emails and reaching out to companies and hearing absolutely nothing back. So that silence kind of was very loud to me, you
And
know.
I guess it also goes with that fact that we are told we're free now, but then it's like you've been given a key to a door that's not open. I mean, staying a whole year
Yeah.
and applying, but still not getting answers. For me, it's like we're told you're free, but the door is not open. So, what do we do? So,
What do we do?
exactly. So, yeah, maybe
Yeah.
we have had a taste, both of us different ways, but yeah.
Yeah. And also, it made me realize just how, you know, trapped you can feel in a system that, you know, promises you an opportunity,
Yeah.
right? But never opens the door. Well, to some people it does, but some unprivileged people, so you grow up believing that education is a key, and you want a better life. You go to school because you want a better life, right? But when that opportunity doesn't come or follow up, when your effort are not met, right? You just start to feel like the system isn't broken, but it's just not built for you, you know? Yeah.
So the system might be built, but it's not necessarily for your freedom. Is that
For
what
your
you're saying?
literally, because we're given, they say go to school, go to school because you want a better life, but now you went to school, you did everything by the book, but
Yeah, no, fully.
know.
I think I understand what you mean.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's freedom.
it's freedom.
It's freedom, I guess.
Yeah, and also, do you want to say something else? Do you want to add up on what I said?
And that's how I felt about it. That's how I feel about freedom.
Yeah.
Like literally, like myself. I've had times where I've been free, but there's also times where I don't think I am.
So also coming back to what I was saying, it made me realize um and ask something I still carry with me today, which is, if you have a right, but no real way to use it, is it really a right after all? No?
Yeah.
But now let's zoom it out a bit and talk about this. Okay? So we're told that South Africa is a democracy.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. Do you think young people actually feel a part of it? Do you think young people feel that democracy today?
Yeah, I think they do feel it, right? They do feel it, but then there's also a sense of the way they taking charge of the democracy is a bit too soft. There's a bit of sitting back instead of taking charge, Like now we tweet about it and we chilling and being soft about democracy. Whereas maybe our approach should be a bit more rigid and a bit more steadfast to we're here and this is what we're doing. So I think yes, young people are, but then there might be a bit of a misengagement. Maybe we're misengaged about it. Like we're there, but we're not there. Because I mean, times have changed. Now, instead of taking to the streets, we can do it socially. I think we are more of the Gen Z is being my people. I think our people as the youth now we're more on the socials than on the streets and there. So that's my take on how the things are going there. So I think yeah, we are there, but then we're a bit more social about it. We're not in the streets like we used to. Yeah, I don't know.
Do you feel that we are heard, we're seen, and also we're included in democracy?
I mean, when you look at it, nah, you could say no because we are sitting with the 60% youth unemployment. The school systems are broken. We are the people who are in it. It's more of we're tired of being lied to. So it's like, let's sit back and I'm not saying we're sitting back, but it's like, wait, let's relax on it a bit more. Because I mean, if we're sitting with the country at 60% of the youth that's unemployed, I mean, who would have hope in that type of system? I wouldn't myself. I mean, I'm part of the stats. So I think that's the thing on my side. It's more of people don't believe in the system itself. We're tired of being lied to. Every year we promise that youth is put first. Employment rate's gonna rise and we're not. 60% is a lot. It's more than half. It's more than half of young people. So yeah, I think we're tired of being lied to.
I agree with
And
that.
being taken. Yeah, a lot of politicians are just chilling. I think that's happening.
Just chilling.
Yeah, so it's like, nah, that's what's going on. I don't know. Yeah, that's my response. I feel like we're soft, but then we're tired of the disappointment. That's my take on it. So, yeah.
I agree with you on that completely. But one of the things I think that makes that hard is that we've only inherited democracy, right?
Yeah.
But we didn't fight for it. So I feel like that's the gap in between, the 1976 youth and the now youth, right? There's so much gap in between, and I feel like the generation before us, but we also are not fully equipped, to use it either, like the democracy we've been given, right? But that is not an excuse. My point is that, like, we are often told that we have power, but let's be real, it doesn't feel like we have that power, right?
Why would you say that?
Because like we don't see people. We don't see like anyone that looks like us in leadership roles.
Okay,
Like
that's
people
true.
in parliament are mostly like over 60 or like, you know,
Yeah.
and also service delivery as well is constantly fails us as the community, you know, and also things like our voices only matter when it's trending on like Twitter or when it's time for elections and all of that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like democracy only exists but far away, you know.
Yeah.
It's an abstract, not a concept. It's an abstract, it's just a concept, you know, but not necessarily like an experience in, you know, classrooms or in like everyday lives, in clinics, you know, in local government offices, you know. I'm not saying like you know, it's how can I put it? Do you want to help me? I'm joking. Um, yeah, I mean, you get me.
No, I understand what you mean. I understand what you mean.
Mm.
Yeah, you're right. I hear you.
Why are you flipping?
You're right. I hear what you say. I
Okay,
hear you. Yeah.
we'll be back right after this ad break. Find out more about DCM by going to probono.org or the Empire Partner Foundation website. Now, let's talk about something that sounds so obvious, but really it's not obvious. So, we are told that we have rights, and that's great, right? But what's the point of having rights if no one ever teaches us how to use them? Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a moment when you felt completely unsure, like you didn't know how to act
So
or what
that
to
situation.
say, or even, you know, where, or if you were even protected by the law?
Yeah. I think it's one thing to know your rights, yeah, but it's one thing to also it's another thing to actually know that your rights are actually going to protect you, because you can know them, but then in practice it's something way different. I mean, I can think about the time I was probably like 18, 19, 18. I got stopped by a traffic officer, and in my mind I thought I was okay. I know what I'm doing, but then there came that bit of I don't know what to call it, uncertainty, where you're like, I know I'm wrong, but then where does my right protect me until? Sharp, I don't have my safety belt on, but what happens after then? I know that I get my ticket and I'm on my way, but then there's a level of uncertainty and not feeling sure, am I going to prison that night or what's happening? So I think it's one thing to know that, but then also that that's actually what happens is different. Because I mean, I didn't do any level of legal education. I don't know what happens. I know that because when you read and you're doing your learners, when it comes to road safety, you know you're not supposed to do this, you can do this. So I'm not sure. I wasn't sure in that instance what happened. So it's one thing to know it. I knew that I was wrong and I should be getting a fine. But then I wasn't sure if me knowing that will protect me from actually going to prison or actually getting something that's a bit more worse than that. So yeah, for me it's that it's very tricky. It's very tricky, especially because I don't think anyone knows. I don't think there's any legal literacy when it comes to these things of the law. So it's a tricky one. Personally, I have been unsure about it just a few times. The road one is just one, but there's more instances where, where it's been very tricky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. It happens a lot. And I think from the youth perspective, because we we try to break the rules and we don't know them. So for me,
True.
it's that, yeah. We think we know
We
it,
don't
but
know
we
them, but we
don't,
don't.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, legal literacy is very important when it comes to this topic. So yeah, that's how it should be going about it.
Okay, I get what you're saying. And I think many of us know we have rights,
Yeah.
right? We've heard the words in, class or seen them in movies or whatever. But when it comes to real life situations, we're left guessing, right? In a way that we all know the line. Let's say you were stopped by by the police, or like the favorite line they say in the movies, right?
Yeah.
You have the right to remain silent. But when it actually happens, like,
You actually stay
what do you actually do? Like, do you
Yeah.
even know what to say when like a police stops you? Like, are you scared? Like, you don't know what you're supposed to say. And what if you even like, do you even know your rights? Like, if that happens, or how to apply them in that moment?
If anything, if you keep quiet, you're probably gonna see.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna see dust. Yeah. But yeah, you're right on that one. I think now it also questions the element you're talking of about real life. It makes you think the Constitution is beautiful, it's written so nice, but then it's actually for real life instances. I don't know, because now it makes it tricky, as you're saying. Is it actually practical? Where now if the movies say we have a right to remain silent, I think I'd like to see someone who remains silent in that situation and see what happens.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So freedom becomes, a thing of, it becomes this thing we're technically have, but not something we actually own in our in practice, right? Because if you don't know how to claim your rights, you are too scared, to even do anything about it, right? Um, and those rights are not really empowering you in that moment. They just ink on paper,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, it happens.
So yeah, so where does that leave us as the youth? Like, you have rights, but you can't put them in practice. Like, you don't know what to say when, something happens, like on the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where does it put us? I think as the youth, we need to be more informed. There are resources out there with a lot of things that relate to the law and our rights and what should happen. It's just like anything, I think, I wouldn't say in South Africa, but in a lot of countries where you need to go and dig hard for you to know actually what's happening. And I think platforms like these is where we should be talking about the access to the legal rights and the justice as a whole. So I think it's just as a youth, we need to be more informed and find out more and talk to people in these spaces. And I think also people in high power should actually also we should have a platform where we can actually access everything easier. So we can avoid these small, I call them disagreements in between where you don't know your right to the fullest and then you get yourself into trouble. So I think we should, because as the youth, we are quite loud also. We are very loud in situations. So yeah, we should know our rights and maybe how we express our rights also should be a way we look at it so that we don't offend anyone. Because I think that's also another point when it comes to knowing your rights. You might know it, but you offend someone the way you say it, which is something maybe that's being done now. So yeah, I think that's where we should be as the youth.
So do you think the youth can like, or the now generation can reclaim democracy and shape it into something that works for us?
I think we can, but we can by starting to we can practice democracy every day. And it's a way of how we live and we do it daily. Instead of it being a celebration once a year, where we celebrate that it's been 35, 30 years of democracy, but then we don't live it every day. And I mean, we can reclaim it. Although democracy is also a bit messy, I mean, we get ignored, we get disappointed. And at the end of the day, if we're not participating, we have no right to make noise when things are not going our way. Because if you're not going to participate, you can't expect, I can't expect you to make noise when you haven't participated in democracy, and I have. Because you're trying to say you have a voice, but you're not making a mark with your voice. I don't know if you get me. There's a difference where you make your mark, whether it's voting, and you make your mark on the socials all by talking. So yeah, I think we can, even though we just have to get over the disappointment and have faith that one day it will be different. And I guess that's where we are as a South Africa now sitting. So yeah, we can as a youth.
Democracy was never meant to be a finished product, right? It's 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 an ongoing thing, right? It's supposed to evolve, and change,
Yeah.
right? And it should bring change as we like evolve as people,
Yeah.
right? It should respond to our needs and reflect on our voices and also challenge itself when it starts to, exclude. We're not just we are not just the ones who inherited the system. We're the ones who must also reimagine it in conversation like this, and also, be part of the blueprint. Because this is where rebuilding, begins in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's true. I mean, it's the beginning. Can be a beginning of a lot, but
Yeah.
it's weird that it happened after 30 something years of democracy. But you're right. I mean, we can reclaim it and can come up with something bigger than what it actually was. So yeah, I mean, we should actually take initiative as to youth and see where it takes us. I think that's what we should be doing.
So freedom isn't just the absence of chains, it's the presence of opportunity, dignity, and power. For many young people today, these remain elusive, but we're not without agency, right? We can learn from these, we can question, we can hold the system accountable and demand more. So, in this Youth Month, we honor the courage of 1976, not by replicating their struggle, but by continuing, rather, in our own way. We may not be fighting with bricks, but we're still fighting with our voices, our knowledge, and our presence. So, this has been Democracy Talks, where we turn confusion into clarity and rights into real power. Stay tuned. This is only the beginning.